Welcome to PokeClass episode 22. Big tournaments are on the horizon with only a week to go until the first states here in the UK. Almost every player is currently testing and playing around with different deck ideas, getting ready to face off the new medals we'll get instead of trophies. This episode, I was kind of running out of ideas of what to cover, but with the run up to states in full swing, I thought I'd go through a few of the decks you should expect to see when they finally come around. First up, let's have a look at some news. In a past episode, I talked about how Pokemon decided to change the prizes for states from trophies to medals, which upset many players in the community. So many of you may not take this newest development too lightly. They've also changed prizes for nationals from trophies to medals. I know this does sound bad, but just think that the medals will still say the same about how you've won a major tournament, even if you don't have a bigger glass trophy. I suspect that many of you won't be too happy about the news, and from what I've read so far, this is exactly the case. And with both trophies of the season so far changed to medals, this also poses the question about whether World's trophies will also become medals. What do you think about all this? There hasn't been much more news about the Pokemon TCG, and that's probably because bigger things are happening in the world of the Pokemon DS games. That's right, Black and White are finally here. This is great news for competitive video game players, as they can start training up their 156 new Pokemon to raise their ultimate teams for competition. I've already got my copy, and so far, it's been great. The same day also saw the release of the new Black and White starter tins. These include foil promos of one of the 3 new starter Pokemon, 4 booster packs, and a small figure of the starter you choose. These tins look great, and will be perfect for storing all those spare cards, or for taking to a tournament to keep everything together. Either way, make sure you get your hands on one of these new tins, as they'll also include a small 5-card mini pack with a sneak preview of the new selection of Black and White cards. The games in the tins get us players of the Pokemon card game excited for the release of the new set of Black and White next month. Pre-releases for these sets have already been set, so make sure you check Pokemon.com for the locations and dates, and get down to one, as I can assure you this set will be worth getting. That's all we have for news right now, so it's on to our main feature today. States in both the UK and the US start on the 12th of March, that's only 7 days away. All players are frantically testing, teching and researching about their local metagame, anticipating what to expect to turn up at these events. As I've mentioned before, these are the first of the 32k rated events, excluding the European Cup, so things from now on get serious as all of us compete for Worlds invites. From the European Challenge Cup, which took place a few weeks ago, we have learned that there are a few new decks which gave the metagame a good shaking up just before we thought we knew the state of the current game. Rogue decks such as Magnezone and brand new decks like Loscar are all at the forefront of everyone's minds when they're building their decks. So what will turn up at States this year? Well, I'm going to go through the main decks and some unexpected ones to watch out for. Let's get started. First we have the main decks, which are expected to do well and possibly win a bunch of events on both sides of the Atlantic. This obviously includes SP variants. Luxchomp will be one of, if not the most played deck at States this year, and will without a doubt win many of them. If you don't know what the deck does yet, then you must know it to take it on when you take part. I won't go over the strategy, as most of you will know it's all about taking cheap prizes to excel it to victory. As for any changes to the deck, there may be some. With Loscar doing so well, and just being a popular idea in general, many Luxchomp players will be taking in Weavile G or another dark Pokemon such as Honchkrow SV and Absol G Level X, which all have the potential to one-shot a troublesome Gengar Prime. Weavile G will be the most popular choice, as it has free retreat and the ability to call for 2 other SP Pokemon if it ends up as the starter, so watch out for any of these if you come across SP. Dialga G could also see a little more play with the expected attendance of Loscar with Vileplume. On the topic of SP, you should also expect some Dialga Chomp. This will also be because different Gengar variants will be cropping up everywhere. Dialga G's ability to shut off Gengar and Vileplume's Pokebodies, the chance to lock Lost World being played, and have resistance against Gengar Stormfront, people will be running this hard-hitting tank if Gengar is expected. Pair this with cheap prizes on your Draw Power Uxies and Smeargles, this could take a few titles in many tournaments. There won't be many changes to the list, as it has built-in anti-Gengar properties already. Since Call of Legends release, there wasn't much it was given, being SP, so classic builds of huge tanking will be expected. I've mentioned it about 5 times already, and the deck that everyone will be expecting includes this very Pokemon, Gengar. Two main variants of Gengar will be appearing in the form of Vilegar and Losgar. Both of these are expected to be played heavily during the state season, as it has shown promise at the European Cup and performed generally well at cities. The first variant, Vilegar, thrives off of the trainer lock and levelling down important level X's, which a lot of decks run at the moment. This leaves the opponent's hand full of trainers, ready for a high damage poltergeist attack. From what I've seen so far, potential changes to the deck will be the addition of Mr. Mime from Call of Legends to look at the opponent's hand before attacking, and the potential addition of a Gengar Prime to grab extra prizes by spreading damage and then sending these Pokemon to the Lost Zone. The main strategy will be the same, with few variants running Blaziken FB as a Dialga counter, but many players will just play smart by leveling down the level X before it causes too much trouble. The second variant is Losgar. This build of the deck will focus heavily on getting out a Gengar Prime and hurling your Pokemon into the Lost Zone. To do this, they'll include cards such as Mr. Mime from Call of Legends, Spiritomb from Triumphant, and possibly even Mime Jr. These cards will all aid your opponent in refreshing your hand to make you draw into the Pokemon they need to throw into the Lost Zone. This deck relies heavily on Seeker to make you pick up Pokemon, so bear that in mind when playing against it. Taking in a dark Pokemon such as Honchkrow SV, Absol G, or Weavile G if you're playing SP, will increase your chances against both of the Gengar variants. Other Pokemon such as Blaziken FB, Luxray GL level X, and Dialga G level X will help you to drag Heavy Retreat Vileplume into the active spot or stop them from playing their winning stadium in the late stages of the game. Key Power Sprays when you're playing SP, or even locking their powers with Mesprit, could possibly give you the upper hand, or even playing to time cleverly could help you win this matchup. Vilegar won't have changed much since Cities, apart from the addition of Mr. Mime and possibly Spiritomb, and Losgar was obviously created along with the release of the newest set, so expect a fair few to appear at your events. Another top contender is Gyarados. Two main variants of the deck are Trainer Dose, which focuses on a quick Gyarados and setting up a fast Tail Revenge before you can even set up, or the traditional Gyarados, which is also pretty fast and can do high damage with quick recovery with the help of Rescue Energy and Expert Belt. I would expect these decks to run both Mesprit and a Luxray GL counter such as Promo Croak, or they'll run very high recovery to get the Revenge KO every single time. Counters for this deck could come in the form of Luxray GL level X paired with Lucario GL if you're playing SP, or Honchkrow SV can help to drag down the power of Tail Revenge by placing their carps on the bench of Darkness Restore. Gyarados is a very fast deck and will keep recovery coming fast, so make sure you have a way to slow them down with possibly Judge, or have a consistent counter attack planned every time, or you'll have a tough time dealing with it. Mesprit will also cause SP and other decks trouble, as you won't be able to use Setup on your next turn, or use key powers such as Crobat G. Make sure you can Power Spray them, or have a way to carry out a decent turn without powers planned beforehand. Call of Legends didn't give Gyarados anything of value, so the normal builds will apply. However, Mew Prime may see its way into some builds with its recent success at the European Challenge Cup. With SP being so popular, you could expect a fair few Machamp decks to be around, and whether it's Speed Champ or a 2-2 Prime split, it can give SP decks a really tough time. Power Spraying key Uxies and fighting tags can give you the upper hand to KO their Machops and Machokes before they evolve, or using your own Uxie, Uxie level X, or Drifblim can one-hit KO those pesky Machamps when paired with Lucario GL. Mesprit could also be a potential play to slow them down for a key turn, as Speed Champ focuses a lot on drawing a load of cards with Uxie to get Machamps out as quickly as possible. There won't be many changes to this deck since Cities, as Call of Legends didn't really give it anything to work with, so expect the classic builds of Machamp when facing them. Sableye is also a good contender, as it can take down any deck when it gets a decent lock on. Using Sableye's Impersonate to attempt to remove cards from your hand by using Cyrus's Initiative can devastate any deck when they hit double heads. Expect them to run Chatot G, Special Dark Energy, and Honchkrow SV. Some variants will also run Blaziken FB, so be wary of the possibility of it hitting the field, as Luring Flame can drag up Pokemon you just don't want in the active spot. Playing against this deck is tough. Running a lot of consistency cards will be key, with cards like Pont and Bebes managing to break you from a potential lock. They will also run Judge, so make sure you don't keep key cards in the hand for too long, or you may see it go just before you need to play it. Some lists are also starting to run Luxray GL level X, so be aware of this too. These are the main competitors in the running for states, but there is a rogue deck which I think will be cropping up and possibly taking people by surprise, and it's Magnezone. Magnezone has recently shown potential at the European Cup by taking 8 victories in the Swiss rounds, the highest of the day. With the interesting build of including Regirock to power up Magnezone's powerful attack being shown to the whole community, I wouldn't be too surprised if I saw people trying it out for themselves. Starting with Spiritomb will slow down their opponent while they get set up themselves, and running cards such as Judge will keep them in control of their opponent's speed when playing against them. When playing against it, make sure you keep in mind that they'll be drawing cards every turn with Magnezone's power, and get rid of Regirocks as soon as possible to kill their energy supply. Players running Regirock will more than likely include 2 in their build, so don't get caught off guard if they lay another one on the bench for you to deal with. They will also run engineered adjustments to draw more cards, so make sure you can take control by KOing their Regirocks and Magnezones before they become too much trouble. This can be dealt with by Promo Croak, Donphan Prime, or even Machamp Tit for double weakness, as Magnezone can reach 160 HP with an expert belt attached. I would certainly be wary of this deck when you attend states, and make sure you know about their strategy before they come up against them during Swiss. This deck can deal a high amount of damage fairly quickly, so watch out for it. So those are the main decks that I would expect to face at states, along with other rogue decks possibly taking a good stand against the metagame. Watch out for these decks, as a lot of them are well built to go against the main decks in the format, and they could possibly take a few states by storm while they're at it. I won't have a video up next week, as it'll be my first states of the year, but expect a full report the week after. That's all I have for you this week, so make sure you subscribe, and if you haven't already, check out this video about my custom playmats. Thanks for watching PokeClass.